Okay, hi. Today I'm going to be covering more factoring with you guys. This is chapter 8-7 and 8-8. I'm going to kind of put them together into one lesson here. All right, so the first thing is I wanted to go talk about a difference of two squares sum. This is the kind of thing where, when I taught you guys how to multiply binomials, if I had shown you, x squared minus 144, oops, I'm going to be asking you to factor that. That'll be the first one. But over here, if, for example, I had given you x plus 8 times x minus 8, and we asked you to multiply that out by FOIL or box technique, you would have gotten x squared. The 8x's cancel out, and you're just left with the x squared minus 64. So over here, when I'm asking you to go the other direction and factor this, you get x and x in the front, and then what multiplies to negative 144 and adds up to 0? Well, that's positive 12 and negative 12, which means that's my answer. Okay, so that's the first one. And the second one, along the same lines, if I had 25x squared minus 36, well, this is the same idea. The only difference is I put a number in front of the x squared. Now, since there's two terms, I got the plus 6 and the minus 6 because the square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 25 is 5, so I got 5x plus 6 and 5x minus 6. So it's the same idea as the one above. The only thing that's different is, I put a number in front of the x squared. So maybe you should try this one. I'll give you two of them to try. You try. See if you can factor this one first. And you can do this one second. Okay, so if you did these correctly, you should have gotten x and x plus 3 minus 3 in any order. Could have put the x plus 3 first, so the x minus 3 second. Second one, it's the same idea, x, square root of 81 is 9, so it's plus 9 minus 9, and then the square root of 16 is 4. So that's your answer, 4x plus 7, 4x plus 9, 4x minus 9. All right. So that kind of wraps up the 8-7 stuff. And chapter 8-8 is about factor by grouping. So if I have this, 3n to the third minus 12n squared plus 2n minus 8, and I want to factor that. This is a different kind of problem. I've not shown you guys anything with n to the thirds and asked you to factor it yet that I remember. This is really the same idea as what we did when we did the factoring by grouping before. The difference is this one's got 4 terms instead of starting out as 12n squared plus 2n minus 8. If I had given you something like that to factor, you would have done it this way too. So what goes into 3n and 12n squared? What can I pull out of each? Well, they're both divisible by 3. I can also pull out an n squared. They both have n squareds in them, so I can factor that. What's left is, now I'm dividing. 3 divided by 3 is 1. N to the third divided by n to the second. Subtract the exponents, gives me regular n. Regular n. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. N squared divided by n squared is just 1. Over here, what can I pull out of 2n and minus 8? Well, they're both divisible by 2. Can't pull an n out because the 8 doesn't have one. Leaves me with n minus 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my parentheses match, which is great, which means I can write down my answer now. Two sets of parentheses. One set of parentheses is what's in the parentheses, which would be the n minus 4. The other set of parentheses is what's outside the parentheses, which is the 3n squared plus 2. And that's the answer. So I'm going to call that in this video number 5. Number 6. Four y to the 4th minus 8y to the 3rd plus 12y squared minus 24y. It's a 4. Okay, so this one, same idea. Anytime I see 4 terms like that, you know, this is the only way of showing you how to factor it. Draw a line down the middle and start seeing what you can pull out of each term. So 4y to the 4th and 8y to the 3rd, I can pull out a 4, and I can pull out 3 y's. What does that leave me with? That leaves me with y minus 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12y squared and 24y, I can pull out a 12y. Leaves me with y minus 2. And now what I can do is I can start writing down my answer. This one's actually got a little bit more to it. So one set of parentheses is what's outside the parentheses, the 4y to the 3rd plus 12y times y minus 2. Now this one's interesting in some ways. You know, this one can be actually factored more, all right? So depending on how the question's phrased, you know, you might want to pull some more out of that. I could actually pull a 4y out of that, which would leave me with y squared plus 3 when I divide both of those terms by 4y and y minus 2. So that would probably be the best answer. That one's pretty good. All right. X to the 3rd minus 25x squared plus 4x minus 10. All right, so let's factor this one. Once again, 4 terms, draw a line down the middle, factor by grouping. 10x to the 3rd and 25x squared, what can you pull out of both of those? Both divisible by 5. I can pull out 2 x's because that's the smallest exponent up there, the smallest exponent. Will determine how many you can pull out. Leaves me with 2x minus 25 divided by 5 is 5. Now the left side, excuse me, right side, the other left, 4x minus 10, I can pull out a 2. Leaves me with x minus 5. And then you look, oh, whoops, my parentheses don't match. I must have made a mistake or something's wrong. And sure enough, you know, you can look and say, well, there, 4 divided by 2 is 2. I missed that. Now my parentheses match. Now I can write down my answer. I get 2x minus 5. The other set of parentheses is what's outside the parentheses. This is the 5x squared plus 2. And that is the answer. Last one, we're going to do a U try. And I am on number 8. $14 y to the 3rd plus 8y squared plus 7y plus 4. Okay, you try. Hit pause and come back. Okay, welcome back. Put a line down the middle. What can I divide 14 and 8 by? Both divisible by 2. I can also pull out some y's there. I can pull out 2 of them because that's the smallest exponent there, which leaves me with 14 divided by 2 is 7. y to the third divided by y to the second is 1y. But I was thinking of it, I have 3 y's there. I pulled 2 out. That leaves 1 more left. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Pulled both y's out. 7y plus 1 plus 4. You can always pull a 1 out. All right, and it's important to have that 1. You don't want to leave it blank there. This one here, that is. So when I write my answer, I'd get 2y squared plus 1 times 7y plus 4. And that is the answer. Okay, if you've got questions, please bring them to class. Close things out here with a little more music.